All right, everybody, we are here live. We are watching some Splendor tonight. This is going to be the finals of our February league here for the Board Gaming Fight Club. Unfortunately, I was defeated by Burke the Soggy in the semifinals, so I will be doing commentary for you guys tonight instead of playing, but that's okay. I'm not bitter. It's okay. So, coming into the game, looks like we have three pretty solid ranked players here. We've got Truly is the top seed when it comes to Splendor, and a couple of other competitors here who are not too shabby when it comes to Splendor. So let's dive into the game. All right, so 3-player game here means that there's going to be 5 of each gym available. So Jim has the honors here of going first. We're very likely to, in a 3-player game, we're probably going to see a reservation here with taking a gold and taking one of the efficient things here. So just letting them know I'm good to go. So yeah, so like I said, we're very likely to see people kind of stake their claim to their early reservations here on the first turn. Looking at this setup here, we're probably going to see some combination of the 7-3s. So he takes a 7 and 3 there. 7 white, 3 blue. Truly is so it's interesting to see here. Does Truly decide to get into the blue game as well, and take one of these two here? I mean, on a blanket, kind of in a vacuum, I would say, in my not so expert opinion on Splendor, I like the 7 blue for the 4. So Truly does take 5 blue for the 2-point blue card there, so he might be hoping to wheel this, and then because that helps him towards getting 7 blue. We'll see if Jonathan here takes. I mean, there's still 3 good options. I would almost guarantee he's going to take this green 4, this red 5, or this black 6. Jonathan as 3rd player, and you guys can chat in if I'm way off base here, but I would imagine that Jonathan doesn't want to be the 3rd person into the blue game, so he's probably not going to take this guy. I would imagine we're going to see probably one of these 2 options here, the 6 black or the 7 green, 3 red. Okay, so everyone has sort of picked their lanes here. So Jim, we'll see if Jim goes for a second reservation or if he just decides to take 2 white and start working towards the white, but it's probably going to be the reservations here. So one of the problems with 3-player is that you can't get to 7 as easily as 4-player because there's only 5 of each color available. And then you have the wilds, obviously, but it makes it much more challenging to get to that 7-player threshold. Or it's not 7-player, but 7 gyms. One of the things that is well beyond my abilities in Splendor, but apparently there are certain colors that tend to be paired with each other a lot more often. So, okay, so Jim takes that white there. So that one costs red, black, and green. So, that, like I was saying, in order to get to 7 of the color that you're going for, you're going to need to probably get 1 card to help you get to those 7-point payoff cards. So Jim making a smart play there, taking a card that'll work towards him getting 7 white. I imagine that Truly is probably going to work towards this 4 green, but we'll see if I'm a genius, or if Truly, with his 562 elo, knows a little more than I do. Looking forward to Jonathan's move. I would imagine that 2 blacks is going to be the call here for Jonathan. And thankfully for my ego, Bryant, Truly Friendly Foe, has taken the card I suggested there. So pretty textbook stuff here. So Jim taking 2 reds, because so he's trying to play that that 2-point white card that he got there. So staking the claim on the reds. Truly, almost certainly here going to take 2 blues. He can't afford to not get a blue. I would imagine 2 blues is the play here. I think this card here, the 1-point blue, is something I think that Truly might be interested in, but we'll see how that develops. It's going to be hard for him to get it because Jim is going to be kind of staking claim on those red discs, or red whatever the heck these things are called. Jonathan playing a good strong defensive play there, so he knows his 2 opponents took white and blue, so he wants to take those white and blue. And then again, Jim just working towards building that 2-point level 2 white card that he reserved earlier. Bryant's in trouble here. I mean, he could use both wilds to play the 5 blue, but he might not want to do that. Might want to save those wilds for the higher payoff, the 7-point cards later. So he takes 1 blue, 1 red, 1 black. So I'm not sure where he's going with this. He might be heading towards that 1-pointer, like I was saying, or he might be doing something that's bigger brain than I have here. Now Jonathan has now 1 of every color and has defensively taken some more whites away from Jim. None of these cards are too helpful to anyone. I mean, this card here is good for both Truly Friendly and Jim, but Jonathan has diversified a lot here, so I don't know where he's heading with his game plan here. But hopefully some of the answers will come to us soon when people start buying things. So Truly here has the option to potentially, he could buy his reserve card for the 3 blue and 2 wild. The problem with that is it opens the opportunity for the other players to then use those wilds and claim them. So it might not be what he wants to do. Luckily, they're taking their time to think here, so I'm going to eat a piece of my food here. I apologize for that. It's a bit of a Splendor standoff here. Everyone's getting close to maxing their hand out, so Jonathan's just taking 1 green, and everyone here is at 10. 3, 6, 9, 10. 3, 6, 9, 10. Oh, well, Jim's at 9, so Jim still has the option of taking white and throwing something else back. Or Jim might be using his wild to build the white. So, again, Jim reserved a level 2 card that costs 4 red. I think it was 4 red, 1 black, 2 green. And it's a white, which helps him work towards his long-term goal of building the 7 white, 3 blue card. Oh, nuts. I don't know how long I've been muted, guys. Sorry. Hopefully I was only muted when I took a bite of my pasta, and you guys haven't missed all my grade A commentary here. So, what I was saying is, on Jim's turn, Jim kind of had to play something because he was full up on chips, but it gave a lot of options back to Truly here. So, I think what Truly's considering is... so, okay. Truly is taking the white, the blue, and the black, and then giving up his green and the black. So, Truly has a 5 blue, which was reserved, and then Jim also has the 7 white. So Truly wants to make sure that it's challenging for Jim to get that 7 white, and he wants to work towards getting his 5 blue for 2 points. So what I imagine is going to happen here is Truly is most likely going to play 4 blue and a wild to get his reserved card next turn. But Truly is also slightly thanks Spaghetti Mitch. It's ironic that you're talking to me about pasta because it's kind of in your it's kind of your MO, right? I actually taking a moment away from the game. I just stared at your face for 2 hours because I'm doing the commentary of the Wingspan final this year, so for the World Series channel. So, all right. So Jonathan plays a white here, using one of kind of each of the other colors here: black, green, red, blue. You know, green and red aren't really anything anyone's collecting. Sorry, well, green especially is not something that no one's really touched with a 10-foot pole. There hasn't been any of the good green cards out there. So it's not too big a deal what happens with the greens. One thing that's nice for Truly here, I don't know that it'll last till his turn, but there is now a blue available. So Truly could get the 5th blue that he needs. Well, yeah, this is tricky because so Truly has a card that costs 5 blue. So does he take the 5th blue here? I don't know. He has 10 things. He hasn't played anything. I would imagine he's getting close to the point where he needs to play something. So I'm thinking what he's going to do here is play his reserved card. Jim has the 4 reds he needs for his reserve card. So he's going to be able to play a second white card out there. Okay, yeah. And so that was what I was kind of wondering for Truly here. He is going to try to play his reserve card without using any wilds. So even though he had to give back some kind of things he didn't care about, Truly's going to be able to play that blue card out of his hand, get the 2 points for the reserve card, and I'm not sure, but Truly might be looking towards pivoting into this guy, this 5 white 3 blue. That might be the direction he's heading. Jonathan on his turn reserves a card. He's going to take the 7 whites. Okay, good news for the viewers at home. I finally got something right, and Truly actually does play his reserved card finally. So I think he wanted to be able to play that without getting rid of his wilds. So I think that's something all of us at home should probably notice. Maybe I think I might be using my wilds too much willy-nilly. So maybe this is a learning moment for all of us here. So Jim, I'm curious here what's going on. Okay, so Jim does play that white card with the 4 red, 1 green, and 2 black. Now what I'm curious about though is his Jim selection. He took a 5th red last time. And I'm not sure exactly what his plan is with that 5th red. Or like he now has 1 red left over, and I think he could have taken something different. So I don't know if he is thinking further ahead than I'm seeing here, or if that was just maybe an oversight. We'll see how it pans out here, but score check. We're looking at 2 to 2 to 0. So Jonathan might be falling behind a little bit. He does have a significant number of chips. So one of these requires 7 white, and I believe the other one requires 6 black. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think what Jonathan wants to do here is probably, well, he needs to get a black somehow. So he might need to take 3 and then just put 2 back. So he could do something like black, red, green, and then put back blue, red, or something like along those lines. So Truly's card requires 7 blues. So Truly's got to start working towards those blues. Jonathan needs to work towards 7 white and 6 black. So he needs white and black. There's no white in the supply for him right now. Jim's requires 7 white and 3 blue. So he's got the 5-pointer, 7 white, 3 blue. So it's an interesting dynamic here. Everyone kind of needs white. and there's no white cards out there, and the white chips are split up. So this is going to be a standoff for white. Jonathan needs to probably, I think he needs to just take 3 and then put 3 back and get the stuff he needs so he can get that 6th black. But I might be wrong here. And obviously this is a tough call for Jonathan. And I'm almost convincing myself that I know what I'm talking about here, because Jonathan does do what I suggest there. Takes 3 gems, puts 3 back. Now Jim desperately wants whites. There are no whites out there. There's also no gold, so he can't do a reserve either. So yeah, it looks like you just got to take some take some cute discs and hope the best. All right, now Truly, similar situation here. Doesn't have any whites, doesn't have anything else. Now he could. None of these are even that easy to play out here. Or I completely missed that one. Okay, so he used a wild, but he's able to snag a 2-pointer here for 3 white, a blue, a black, and a wild. So he's able to get a 2-point green card. Really not a bad play there. I didn't even see that as an option, but I like that. So we got an early lead for Truly Friendly Foe here. So this is our fearless leader of the Board Gaming Fight Club. And then he is also our patchwork ring winner from this year's World Series of Board Games. We have our Great Western Trail ring winner down here, Jonathan. And then Jim has been a 2-year competitor, has made a couple semifinals, and I think he has made the final in one event. But Jim has beaten me in my fair share of games, so he's also a very strong competitor. All right, Jonathan does do what I said there, got the 3-point black card. So 2 golds in the supply. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a reservation here. Yeah, and that's what that is. So get that gold, reserve that card. So again, Truly with a lot of foresight here. He needs 7 blue for his 5-point card, or 4-point card rather. So that getting another point there for 4 discs is really nice, and no one's really going for red too aggressively, so he should be able to snag that without too much incident. So Jonathan, classic one off the top reservation. So sometimes that can be a sign of weakness, but none of those cards out there are all too good, so I don't mind that play from Jonathan. You got to get that wild. You can't let it go. And if you don't like the cards that are out there, you have to reserve off the top. The middle row is clogged with a lot of very inefficient cards. Those are not the 1-pointers that require 7 gems are not very good cards. So this has kind of slowed the game down with the pace here a little bit. We don't have very efficient stuff here in the middle. None of the cards on the bottom row are worth a point, and then the stuff on the top row is very expensive. So we've sort of hit a bit of a lull here where there's a little bit of garbage kind of clogging up the ranks here. So Truly needs blues. We know that. But he also needs red to get that 1-pointer in the interim. Jim needs a lot of whites and blue. But let's see, what is Jim going for? So he's got 2 greens, 2 reds, a blue, and some wilds. So I'm curious which card he's going for out here. Maybe he's pivoting towards this 5-pointer here, but that seems a little ways off. Okay, so Truly is getting a white, a blue, and a red. So he needs to keep taking red to work towards that 1-point blue that he has in his hand. Taking the blue is obvious, and I think the white is more of a defensive play. I don't know that he's really planning on using that white too much, but we shall see how it develops here. So Jonathan, I'm a little concerned for Jonathan's position. He did reserve one off the top, but it was a random one. We'll see what that is. It would have been very nice if Jonathan got something that cost black, because black seems to be the kind of the redheaded stepchild of this game. No one's too interested in black, and Jonathan does have that one black card already in front of him. So yeah, that's a good point, Zab. It whenever your opponents are fighting over the same color, that typically works out in your favor. Now Jim could give up. He could buy that white one. Now it's not worth any points, but he could get it for a wild, just a wild and a white. So I think this is probably somewhere where I have a weakness in my game, because in my head I'd be like, ooh, that's something to consider, but it's probably something I'm supposed to just ignore and not care about at all. But it matches my colors, so I'd probably be like, ooh, that's fun, you know? Um, okay, so Jonathan does think it's worthwhile. It didn't cost him a wild though, and it would have cost Jim a wild. So that's probably a better call for Jonathan. When I was coming up in my Splendor learning phase, which was a very brief phase, it was basically Cliff telling me how to play Splendor and telling me that I didn't know what I was doing. But during that time, I discovered that nobles are not a typical thing that you should look at, right? You basically can win the game without playing nobles at all. However, Jonathan could come in with a backdoor noble here. Maybe there's a play pattern where everyone kind of slows each other down enough. He sneaks this in at the end, and Bob's your uncle. I don't know. It's always a fun way to go. It'd be an exciting finish here, but I'm really thinking that Truly is off to the lead here. So while Jim thinks about this, we should probably talk about the elephant in the room, which is bunnies, because Jonathan chose not to veto Splendor. So that's why we're here trying to remember what color everyone's going for, rather than playing a game that has class like Bunny Kingdom. But it's interesting, had Splendor been vetoed, it would have come down to Ticket to Ride versus Bunny Kingdom for the last veto slot, and both of those games would have probably been a little bit more of an open playing field. I think those are there might be less of a favorite in those games, so something to think about. Did Jonathan lose this game? If he ends up losing, did he make the right veto decision? That's something to look at and think about. Okay, good. Yeah, so Truly is able to play his 1 point blue card. So Truly needs to figure out how to get 6 more points in addition to his reserved card. So he's got 9. He'll have 9 with that. So 6 more there. Jim and Jonathan are just killing each other here. So I don't know at this point if it's in one of their best interests to change plans here, or if they just have to keep bashing their heads against each other. I obviously you can't let Truly just keep getting points while you and Jim attack each other, but I don't know what other option they have here. Jim is saying that he's going to get this 6 blue, 3 white, 3 green. So I like that. He's already got 2 white and a blue. So that doesn't seem too bad for him. It looks like it definitely something he can do. Yeah, so I like that pickup there. Truly going with green, red, black. That gives him at least one of each color, so he can pick up potentially pick up some smaller stuff if he needs to. It's going to be pretty deadlocked trying to get up to 7 blue, but again, these in the middle row, these 1-pointers are not really what any of the players want to build. This is not a bad one here. We've got 7 green for a red 4-point card. So that might be something that either Truly or someone else looks at. Truly does have one green in front of him, so that might be a way we go. Zab, who's probably more of an aficionado than I, has noted that Jonathan and Jim have opened up a little bit after Jim bought that white, because now they both have 2 whites. So here we go. Jim scoring 5 points for that was the blue, the 7 white, 3 blue. So Jim has taken a lead here. We're up 7-5 to 3 here. Remember, Jim was the first player, so Jonathan will always get the last turn of the game, no matter what happens here. And then remember, Jim is also going for 6 blue, 3 white, 3 green. That would get him to 11. And then he's got to scramble for 4 more points somehow. Now, Truly is faced here with the opportunity where he can reserve a card now because the wilds have just gone back on the market. So you guys let me know what you're thinking, but I'm thinking he might be trying to snag one of these 2 red cards here because I think he's looking to build a green card out of his hand anyways. So maybe that, and then that would put him at 2 greens. Maybe that's a way he goes. Okay, all right. So we got a white, a blue, and a green here, giving up a red disc. So this puts Truly, it's doing 2 things. It's helping him towards getting his 7th blue for his reserved card. It's also preventing Jim from getting very many more of these whites and blues that he needs for his cards. So Jim actually in a very powerful position here. Both of his cards require white and blue, so he's got a $4 discount or 4 Jim discount off of his 2 cards in reserve. Now he's at 7. He has a 4-pointer and a 2-pointer reserved. Regardless, it's either 13 or 14 points, so he's gonna need to get 1 more scoring card in addition to the 2 in his reserve. So Jim is gonna need some other point somewhere. Truly will go to 9 once he plays the card in his reserve. And so at that point, he needs 6 more points. Jonathan's route to victory. I believe Jonathan has I don't remember if it's a 5 and a 4 or 2 5s reserved, but Jonathan has a little bit of catching up to do here. He's not too far off of this guy. Right, because it only costs him 1 black gem, 1 white gem, and then the 3 green. So he could theoretically play this, but it would cost him his wild, so that's probably not what he's doing. So he is going to reserve off the top, look for something more efficient. And I think that's probably the right play because, like I said, these 1-pointers are all crap, basically. So very disciplined play by Jonathan. That's not what Goldfish Jeff would do. I would probably make the wrong play and try to build some inefficient crap out here because that's just how I roll. But you're seeing good, strong, disciplined play here by the players. If you are behind, you need to get lucky. And not necessarily get lucky, but he needs an efficient card, right? He can't win the game by playing 1-point crap out here, and so that's a good point, Zeb, taking that card off the top. Best case scenario is probably he gets the 2.5 black card. Okay, so Truly does take a green card from the card row, getting himself up to 6 points here. So I wonder if Truly's going to reserve one of these 2 red cards up here that cost green chips. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of things that require green right now, so we'll see what direction he goes with that. I think there's also something to be said for, 3 black is kind of tough, but this blue helps him towards getting he does have the card that requires 7 blues, so maybe this is something he pivots towards at some point in the game. Now, we do have 2 cards that we don't know of Jonathan's here. So there could be the 5 white or potentially the 5 black. I think there's a 5 black, 3 white. Might be the way one of the cards that he got. We'll see what happens here. He also has 7 black. So he could drop the 7 black bombshell on us, which I think is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a Let's see, the white is it the is it white? Is it a white card for 7 black? I don't remember. Boom. I was right. 7 black for a white card here. So things are starting to look back pretty good for Jonathan here. So Jonathan already has 6 white discs here, or white whatever chips. Maybe if Jonathan reserves something, he could play a card that costs 7 white. So I mean, where Jonathan's starting to look like he's right back in it here. And I believe, if I'm not crazy, that 7 black. The card he just played was a blind reserve off of the top pile. And we're going, okay, blind reserve. Jim said, you know what? If it worked for you, it can work for me. And he's taking one off that middle row. So when the row is crap, you just keep taking cards off the deck, and your odds of getting a good card go up because all the bad ones are out in play. So not bad. Not bad for the home team on that one. So Jim's getting pretty tied up with discs, or gems rather. Same with so Friendly has 8, so he could afford to take a couple here and not have to put any back. I'm still thinking that Friendly might behoove Friendly to work towards one of these. Okay, there, yeah, right when I was about to say it, he takes a 5-pointer. So I think if Truly can manage to build both of his face down cards, that's going to be a win for him. If Jonathan, we don't know what one of his cards is, but I believe that the other one is a 4 or 5 pointer. So Jonathan might need 3 cards at this point. Jonathan's options here, he needs that 7th white, right? So it might be blind reserve again. There's something to be said for reserving that 7 green, because Truly can just play that next turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He could just use his 2 wilds to play that from the display. So this is a very important finals match here. So the players are taking their time with their thought process. Yeah, okay. So Jonathan takes one off the top. Boom. Nailed it. Great close competitive game here. It's still too close to call here. I'm liking the way that all the players have positioned themselves. Jim definitely is going to be able to get. He has two cards that he can play for discount. So he drops that 5 white 3 blue. Oops, sorry, it's over here. 5 white 3 blue. And now that does open the door for whites and blues to be picked up. So Jonathan can now take, red, white, blue, go with the American theme there. And that gets him up to his 7 white, and he can stash that wild for later. So that opens the door a bit for Jonathan here. Jonathan's going to be able to just plop 4 whites down, buy his card out of his hand, and he's going to go to 11 points. And then he'll have 4 white and 1 black. So, if Jonathan drew the right cards, because we still haven't seen. So there's a card that there's 5 white for 2 points, and then there's 6 white for 6 whites. Sorry, 5 whites for 2 points, 6 whites for 3 points, right? So Jonathan's got options that he might have got off the top, and that he might just be coming out of nowhere with the victory. Wouldn't be the first time I counted Jonathan out and then lost. Okay, so Jim takes the defensive reserve there to take the 7 green away from Truly. And then a very, very sweet one pops up for Jim. Well, maybe. This one might be something that's doable for. Actually, it really could be good for either Jonathan or Jim, because they both have discounts, pretty heavy discounts off of getting that new 4-pointer that showed up. But I think that Jonathan's still going to just play his 7 white and then I think that's the direction we're going there. Well, let's see what Truly does here. He needs a red. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think he should have played that green from face up last time. Okay, so Truly's going now back. He says, okay, I see your defensive reserve, and I'll defensively reserve, sucker. So that's where we're at with that one now. Because Truly ain't never going to build that card. You know? It's just not going to happen. Which fiver? This one? Oh, this one. The 5-pointer. My bad. Ha! The one that he has all the stuff for? Yeah, that's, yeah, the green-blue. That is a very fortunate turn of events for him there. Yeah, and then I guess so he gets that 5, and then he is only a couple greens away from playing and then he goes for that 7 green, 3 red in his hand. Is that what we're thinking? So Jonathan did, sorry, while I was getting distracted by that, Jonathan's going to do white, red, black, which is what I thought, taking the white and the red. Jim taking 2 black, which doesn't, that does help him with one of his reserved cards because it needed 3 black, so that's good for him. Truly is going to play the pretty obvious 5-point card. Or no, he's not. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. No, he's going to play his reserved green card. So he played his 7 blue. Okay, so he played the 7 blue. Now he has 7 green. Right, but doesn't he need 3 red for this? Because I think he had the, yeah, he needs 3 red for the 5-pointer he has in his hand, I believe. So Jonathan, what did Jonathan do on his turn? Let's track back to that. So he played, okay, see, this is spicy for Jonathan. Because Jonathan played the 6, he got the 3-point white card that I was talking about. So if Jonathan's 2 cards in hand are the 7 white for a blue, and then any 1-point card, he could have the game here because he's going to go to 14 right now. So Jonathan will go to 14 on his turn, and then he's just got to scrounge for another point somehow. I don't see an easy way for him to get a point, but you know, there's that. Okay, I don't think this new 5er that came out changes much. Okay, so Jonathan reserves that, and what that means is that Jonathan is 2 cards away from 15 points. So, unless I'm bad at math, which I'm not, because I'm awesome at math, I think Jonathan has snuck in there and stolen this game. Zeb, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm only wrong once a year, and I don't want to blow it this early in the year. So I think this is going to be Jonathan's with a 7 white and then a 1-point red. I counted him out a few minutes ago, but shame on me for ever doing that again. Truly is obviously higher rated than I ever planned to be in Splendor, but I don't see why he didn't play that 7 or that 5-point green card from face up, the one that he let Jim reserve. Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, if Jim plays a green and a red, yeah, and then the tiebreaker is the fewest number of cards, right? So they would both have, Burke would have 7, so Bryant would win, right? So it might come down to the dreaded tiebreaker here. This is an exciting night for board gaming. Also, a new season of Survivor starts tonight, so it's a real heck of a day, you know? All right, I think, unless I'm calling the fat lady singing prematurely, I think that it's going to be a Jonathan show here. I am sad to see that Jonathan couldn't do it with style points and get the 4 black, 4 white noble. That would have been... That's the equivalent of winning with Gleans, you know, getting a noble and surprising everybody that way. But we'll take it. We'll take this victory. I mean, you'll take the wins however you get them, but I would have preferred a nice noble steal, you know, just to spice things up. Oh, wait. No, I think Truly might have stolen it back. He might have snatched victory from the claws of defeat because he played a red card there from the row. That didn't require any of his things, so I think he's going to be able to play his 7 and 3 now. So, 7 and 3 now. So, I think he's going to be able to play his 7 and 3 now. So, 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 somehow, some way, the mastermind himself does it. Unless I'm crazy here. Oh, yeah. All right, we're gonna have to second tiebreaker in Splendor. Second tiebreaker Splendor. Reverse turn order. So oh my gosh, it might be it might go down to Mr. Burke the Soggy coming later in turn order. Yeah, so that's exciting, man. I had to Google a tiebreaker rule just to understand. Wow, who would have thought Splendor could be so exciting? You know. So I don't know what Jonathan's thinking of here. It seems like his last two moves are pretty well telegraphed, but I guess if there's a way that maybe Jonathan could figure out how to get a two-pointer here, that'd be pretty cool. But I don't think it's possible. Jim obviously out of contention here because he cannot get a six-pointer. But I mean, 13. You know, that's not a bad score. Very close. Um, you know, you're never upset with a 13 to a loss. Okay, and yeah, Jonathan. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into the Discord chat and see what the story is because I think that whatever I googled might be wrong. So let's stick with me, fam. So are we awarding it to Burke because he was later in players' orders, or are you gonna play again another time? What if we just? I think that the only fair way to resolve this would be to have the players play Bunny Kingdom to decide the fate of the world, right? Oh God, I hate being on the spot. All right, so for those of you watching on the stream, I just talked to the other brains behind the operation. So next season we will have some better rules clearly established about what happens in the case of a tie in the finals. But for this year, the guys have decided to split the prize. So we're gonna have co-champions for season one. So about the most exciting results that you could ask for. Clearly, it was anyone's game. A lot of strong competitors there. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you later.